Hey, sorry, I know this is really random, but I just loved your wild vibes. I had to say hi. Hi guys, I've been in Medellin, Colombia for 2 weeks now coaching this guy, and in this video you will learn a lot about Daygame in Medellin. Where to game, how are the girls, do you need to know Spanish, and is it actually worth coming to Medellin for Daygame?
Hello, I'm Juan Pablo, originally from America. I've spent most of the last 8 years living in Medellin, and I am in my mid-50s.
If you are coming to Medellin, there are two places in the city where you might want to stay. This is where most foreigners are staying. It's Poblado or Laureles. And we're staying in Poblado, which is a very nice green neighborhood, full with bars, full with restaurants. I really like it. But there is one thing I have to talk about before we start this video, guys. I know that after posting this video, I will receive a bunch of coaching applications with guys asking, hey, do you have any coaching spots left in Colombia? But the answer is usually no, because the coaching spots are usually gone a month or two before I arrive in the city. When I start posting videos in the cities, either all the spots are sold out or I'm already on the way to the next city. So if you know that in the future you will want to join me on one of my day game trips and get coaching in one of the amazing cities I go to, make sure you are on a mailing list, because the first two places I mention, the cities where I'm going to, are our Daygame Church Telegram group chat and the mailing list. So make sure you are subscribed, go to my website, strobert.blog, join the mailing list, and you will always know where I'm going. For example, the next two places I'm going to are Argentina for a few months in January and February, and then to a Rio Carnival in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And we're doing our first session in the lovely city of Medellin. Student that just did his third set, had more AAA than I expected. I expected him to have none. So far doing good. He's actually opening in Spanish. I did my first set, chick spoke zero English, and I just switched to Spanish, and turns out I can do a very basic day game set in Spanish, so I'm super happy about that. We have been exploring this neighborhood. We are in a shopping mall right now. Student has done 7-ish, 8-ish sets. I've done 4 demos, 2 numbers so far. Student, I don't think has a number yet, but run some actually pretty decent sets. I came here because I have met so many really hot Colombians abroad, and I came here thinking, oh my god, this is gonna be full with them. This is gonna be epic. So far, it is less amazing than I expected, but still you can see some very good quality here, even during the day while people are at work and it's not the best traffic. So first impressions are actually pretty damn good. So the first places we went to were Milla de Oro and Santafe Mall. How did you like them for your first session?
We had been recommended to go there, and I thought there would be more traffic actually, honestly, on the Milla de Oro and the Santafe Mall than there was, but it was good enough. We got our 10 sets in.
We took a little break, had a little bit to eat, short nap, and now we're heading out for another session. We're going to a more touristic area with all the bars. It is only Wednesday, so there likely aren't gonna be many people, but still enough for 10 sets in 2 hours. And we are on the main street of all the bars and everything, and student just opened a seated chick, a very hot chick. And it ended up as a really good set. She was really receptive, and then a guy shows up, some dude, like 10 minutes later, sits down, just appears kind of out of the blue, like a friend she was waiting for, maybe like a date or something like that. And the student has big enough balls to still number close. So that's great. So what happened with that super hot seated chick who you number closed? Did she ever come out?
As of now, no. She basically got sick. I did one date request because she, responded to the feeler text pretty well.
Well, kudos for still number closing even though the guy shows up. That was amazing.
Well, hey, I knew it was going well enough, and plus, this guy showed up, and then he just saw that there was a conversation going on, and he freaking backed up. So I kept going, and I was like, oh, I see you got dinner. Another time when we have more time, let's get together, we'll talk on WhatsApp, number closed, gone.
Hey, sorry, I know this is really random, but I just loved your wild vibes. I had to say hi. You look like a crazy fucking artist, like I don't know, like a dancer maybe, or like a street artist. You don't speak English. Okay, have a good day. And we're doing the second day of coaching. Student had a day off yesterday where he went out on his own and did 8 sets, and they ended pretty interesting, but I will ask him to tell the story a little bit later. And we are now in an area, in a part of the city with many offices, to try to get some sets in, exploring some pretty fucking shady side streets while looking for sets, looking for good places to day game. We were in a good location, but then we wandered off a little bit, and this is definitely, well, not a place you want to do sets. This is one of the happiest moments in, I wouldn't say in my life of day game, but in the last year for sure. I just did my first set, like a long set, like 5, 6, 7 minutes, fully 100% in Spanish. So that's fucking incredible. I'm super happy. Let's see whether that actually leads somewhere. The area where we were is called Mercado del Rio. Your thoughts on Mercado del Rio for day game? Because we did it, I think, twice.
It's kind of hit or miss, but I think, I mean, if you want to get 10 sets in, there's plenty of traffic around lunchtime and then around later on 4, 5, 6 in the afternoon. Because I've done it 3 times, twice with you and once on my own or something like that.
On the first days of coaching, we're working on the basics of day game. The stop, the pre-opener, the opener, and the stacking. We're not even touching storytelling. And if you're learning day game on your own and you want to improve these things, then check out a playlist called The Structured Natural Approach on my YouTube channel. Yeah. Hey, by the way, why did you decide to get day game coaching? Because you were doing pretty okay with girls using online dating.
Yes, so that's a good question. I mean, I had heard of day game. I was not doing day game. I had done 0 day game before we met. But we have a mutual friend who probably refers to Remain Anonymous, and he forwarded one of your emails to me because I wasn't even on your list. He goes, "Oh, I worked with Robert. I see he's coming to Medellin. You should definitely sign up." So I've known this guy for years. I trust him. We've freaking been all over the world together. So I was like, "Hey, why not?" But really, the reason was, as you say, I'm in Medellin. It's easy online, whatever. But this year I started spending time, several months in another place that I won't mention, and it's freaking shit, the online. So I had an interest in day game, plus you know, sometimes I see women on the street that are attractive and I just like didn't really know what the hell to say to them. So it was basically that, just to broaden my pool here when I see someone on the street. And in this other place, it's like I think I have to use day game because online is shit.
And earlier in the video, we mentioned that you had a day on your own, you did your 8 sets, and I said something interesting happened. So what happened when you were out on your own?
Yeah, so the reason I only did 8 sets is because on the 8th set, what do you call it? We had like an instant date or something.
Yeah, instant date.
Yeah, so she did not speak any English. I always open in English, switch to Spanish because I speak Spanish fine. And I don't know, she was like very receptive, and she's like, "Oh, I live close to here, let's, you know, walk back towards my place." And we ended up going to a place for a glass of wine and then walking back to her place. And then I was like, "Oh, you're going to invite me in?" I just could have told her, and she goes, "Yeah, I am." And so I freaking went up and spent a couple of hours in her apartment chatting, drinking wine. You know, I physically escalated, tried, but there was no same day, you know, SDL. But so that's that story.
Nice. Dear lady, hello.
Hi.
What did your boyfriend tell you to do today?
Not to fuck with someone else.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
What did you just do?
I just suck a dick.
What?
I just have sex.
You
And
just
come
had sex?
twice.
With who? With who?
With you.
But you couldn't. You said you would not.
Sometimes you gotta break the rules.
Boom. So after yesterday's adventures with the lovely chica, who will most likely appear in another video on my YouTube channel, I actually want to interview her. After all of that, we went to a different city to Daygame today, slightly south of Medellin. It's a Sunday, so there should be many people outside. We're gonna do 2 sessions, put some real work in. Let's see how we do in this city. It's a lovely little city,
with tiny streets, tiny buildings. It's cute. It's definitely full with people. Enough traffic to do the sets. Seriously, beautifully decorated. Seems like a small town, but really full with people. Really lively. I really like this place, and student is doing pretty good here as well. I would say the student is learning pretty fast. There are many things he understands better than the average student, so we get to work actually on more interesting things, kind of smaller nuances in sets. And to me it's very interesting because I don't get to teach those things that often. You have to work with someone who already is experienced to be able to work on smaller details. And he could be doing much better with the teasing, but he understands how to use challenging and many other things after the hook point, and in general how to build comfort after the hook point. The sets are pretty long, maybe 5, 8, 10 minutes long, the ones that are actually going somewhere. Girls here are very receptive, so it's not the hardest environment to daygame if you speak the language. If you didn't speak the language, then this would be very, very tough, because we're going to places where almost no one speaks English. We are 3 hours in, or 15 sets in, and out of those 15 sets the student has 7 numbers. So this place has seen very, very few daygamers, because we are in a different city, in a part where no one daygames. Reactions are really, really good. They just are not leaving. They're there. They're super excited about someone talking to them. And this is the value of learning different languages and going to places where the guys who only speak English can't really go to. And that's why I love Russian, and that's why I'm learning Spanish. And finally, we're done. 4 hours, 20 sets, a bunch of numbers. This place was really, really cool. Tons of people, better quality than in the city actually. Student did amazing, but now it's really time to just chill out, have a beer or a glass of wine, and just to relax.
Your thoughts on Sabaneta?
Sabaneta was easy day game, as you say. However, the challenge is it's kind of far away. So I got a lot of numbers. And one thing interesting about Sabaneta, I think that's where I did my first like two women close. It was a mother-daughter, and the mother was actually cuter than the daughter, which was why I think you had me approach. So anyway, that went well. I number closed the mother. The challenge with Sabaneta is that it's kind of far away, and so I mean the mother that I number closed date requested, and she's kind of hesitant to come up to Poblado, so that's kind of a challenge. So I think there are closer places that are better to overcome that. Although I just made a date request last night with another chica I met in Sabaneta, and she sounds all excited. So we'll see where that goes.
What do you think about the English level there? Is it worth going there for guys who don't speak Spanish?
I would say no. The only place I was actually amazed around Provenza.
That's in El Poblado.
Parquejeras, yeah, those are around. That's like the tourist district around Poblado. I was actually, as someone who's been here for 8 years, shocked at how many women actually spoke English there. But that's like the only place. Any other place, most of them don't speak English.
The next place we go to is El Centro, and all the locals told me be very careful in El Centro. It's a fairly dangerous neighborhood, so there is almost no footage from El Centro because that's not a place where you want to pull out your iPhone.
We are a bit more than an hour in, definitely really good traffic, but you have to wait to see someone actually hot. But here you see a similar thing than in Ukraine. You would see chicks that are naturally very beautiful, but they just nothing is really going right in their life, so they are naturally beautiful, but well, you know what I mean. Now we are in a beautiful place with a bunch of street vendors and a very beautiful park. I actually pulled out my phone to film these trees, and this is fucking beautiful. I like it. I like this part of the city. You don't see any tourists here. We're walking around here and people are looking at us like, what the fuck are these two doing here? What the fuck is going on? In the beginning, everyone tried to sell us shit. Now we're in a different part, it's better, but it's definitely a completely different vibe.
So what do you think about that day in El Centro?
So El Centro is different than Milla de Oro, Santafe, Parquejeras, Provenza. in that in Poblado, you're probably gonna come across probably like a higher class of person in general, because frankly, the last day we went to Santa Fe, the first two cuties I opened were immediately like, "Hey, we're damas de compañía," which when I'm like, "No thanks." So but in Centro, it's probably going to be like maybe a lower class. That's maybe where the poorer kind of people hang out, and the more well-to-do, more educated hang out in Poblado. But still, I found the traffic in Centro plenty to do 10 sets, and there's quite a few hot chicas down there as well. So that's my impression.
Yeah, that was interesting. It was the best traffic we have seen was in the most dangerous place we went to, El Centro, and the best quality I would say also was in El Centro. That being said, all of the sets were totally in Spanish. And after our session in El Centro, where you got a bunch of numbers, you had a date with a lovely chica from El Centro. Tell the story, what happened there?
So, I mean, that was a pretty good set. I mean, it was probably 8 or 10 minutes. And then she responded well to the feeler text, date request. Had a date. She was like all over me instantly, easily, physically escalating. Venue 1. I mean, I was like, we finished our margarita here. Let's go to venue 2. She's like, vamos pues, let's go. And then so we had a glass of wine there. And then I'm like, hey, let's go to my apartment is right here. Let's go have a glass of wine. Vamos pues. I mean, it was just like taking candy from a baby, basically. And hey, it was the first DGL. So
yeah, so first Daygame, amazing. The thing in Medellin is, if you're doing online dating, most of your dates will actually come straight to your house. It doesn't mean you're getting laid, but it's fairly typical to get chicks straight over to your house. And you wanted to do the same thing, but I said, dude, this is not online, this is Daygame. You have to follow the structure. You have to still text with them the way you should text. You should still do when you 1, when you 2, at least until you learn how Daygame dates work here. And if you guys want to learn the same things I taught this guy about what to do on dates, well, actually I didn't explain him much. I just told him, go to daygamecourses.com, watch the free video courses there, you'll know everything. So if you want to learn the same things, just go to daygamecourses.com, create a free account there. We have 4 courses about dating and texting on there, so check them out. We liked El Centro so much that we decided to do one of the last coaching sessions again in El Centro. But this time it turned out to be sketchier than before.
We have definitely walked off the beaten path, and we are in where we were in a crazy sketchy place. That's the kind of place where you're gonna feel like you're gonna get robbed during the day in broad daylight, and no one would even bat an eye and be like, oh yeah, that's fine, like you shouldn't have walked here. So we're definitely fucking go from here and going to a bit more of a still shitty but not as shitty streets. But well, this is what happens when you explore new places for Daygame. Out of 2 sets he opened, 1 turned out to be a hooker. That's also funny, of course.
We ended up in a weird part of El Centro, which was full of hookers, and when he was opening girls, 2 of the sets kind of blew him off in a weird way, and then I realized what's happening. The place is so full of hookers that people go to that part of the city to get hookers, so chicks automatically think that he is approaching them because he thinks they are hookers, so we actually had to go to different part of El Centro. If you go to places like that, you have to pay attention to where you are, to where you're going. You have to keep your eyes open, and we were wandering around, and as you saw, we ended up on a really sketchy street, much sketchier than the one you see in the video. And we decided, fuck it, we can't game here. We went back to the part of El Centro that we know, to streets that were great for Daygame, not as busy, not as crazy, with some decent quality chicks. You did a 2 set there. How did that go?
Right, there was 2 friends. They were in their workout clothes. So they had obviously just been to the gym, and Robert's like, "Hey, go approach those 2." So I followed them into the mall. They stopped at some. It's kind of narrow in there. It's freaking everything's narrow in Colombia, but they stopped at some kind of a kiosk.
Everything.
And so I just kind of walked up and did my pre-opener, opener. Actually, the one on the left, I remember she was kind of startled, but I quickly like whatever calmed her down, and had like a good 8 to 10 minute set talking to both of them. Number closed. I just got the one on the left, because what's the point of maybe getting them both? And then I was like, hey, we'll talk on WhatsApp and maybe we'll go out, grab a drink.
And we had one more coaching session left. Let's see how he does there. And we are on the way to do the last coaching session with this student, and the last coaching session is always a little bit different. The student is day gaming on his own. He's choosing where to go, who to open, and everything else. I'm not actually even listening to the student's sets, but we are chatting between the sets, but I'm not telling him what to do between the sets. I'm asking him questions that he should be asking himself after each set he does, and that way he learns to self-analyze and keep working on his game once we're finished with the coaching. We're going to a place where we've been many times before, the Santafe Mall and Milla de Oro, the Golden Mile, which is a nice spot during the day, one of the nicest day game spots we've found in the city so far. You did 11 sets. How did it go?
The last day at Santa Fe, well, I told you the first two I opened, they were Damas de Compañía. But I actually think it went really well, and maybe I got 3 numbers.
At least.
Yeah, and the last one was pretty hot. I actually kind of, I don't know if I went off script, but there was 2 girls, and one of them was like really hot, so I just freaking approached them anyway and focused on the hot one. And it turned out,
the model one.
Yeah, and it turned out she was a model. She wasn't really interested, although we did have like a 5 or 6 minute set, and then I tried the number close and she declined, so oh well. Moved on. I actually also approached kind of some pretty good looking, like mid-30s maybe, something like that. And they were all like very friendly, receptive, but they were all married, so that's kind of the risk. But I'm being someone in my mid-50s. I mean, mid-30s is fine with me. And then the final one of the day, she was a law student. She was like in her gym outfit, and I saw her as Robert and I were talking about my last set, and he's like, yeah. So I was like, okay, we can talk about this other set later. So anyway, we had a great 10-minute set, number closed. So sent the feeler text just yesterday. But I would say, like, in general, from day one to the last day, because as we were talking about the sets and you were like, what's the story and whatever, I mean, even you were telling me that my storytelling was much better. I was even working in teasing into the story, and so I don't know, I'm just like you say, I'm learning pretty quick, and it was actually pretty fun actually, to be honest with you, because it's like, I don't know, opening a Christmas present, you never know if it's going to be like, oh, is this the freaking one, or is this chick gonna blow me off? Who the hell knows? But that's kind of part of the excitement. I don't get personally attached to the outcome. I just freaking go in with an open mind, and whatever happens.
And now, after doing 5 days of coaching, which we stretched out over around 2 weeks, how do you feel about your day game skills right now?
I feel really good. As you say, I got better every day. I mean, I basically started from zero, because I had never even approached. I mean, I've approached, but I had no structured approach. I had no freaking idea what to say. I had no idea what I was doing. So now I kind of understand the work on comfort and attraction and the opener and the pre-opener. I mean, that's just like brushing my teeth anymore, because you say the same thing over and over again. I've got like 3 stacks that I always use. I know how to fish for the hook point. I've gotten better at the storytelling and also involving the teasing in the storytelling, and I guess I'm slowly building up a library. So like, oh, if she's an accountant, or if she's a lawyer, or if she's whatever, I kind of have a story in my head that involves teasing, and so I don't know, I just feel a lot more comfortable and confident with it.
If guys want to come to Medellin and try their luck day gaming here, and they do not speak Spanish, which neighborhoods do you think are the best to check out?
Poblado, like if you get out of Poblado, you can pretty much forget about I mean, like very few spoke any English at all. But I was actually amazed, like on Calle Diez, walking up and down there. I was amazed at how many spoke English. So if you don't speak any Spanish, you should learn Spanish. But if you're gonna rely on English only, I would stay around Provenza, Parque Lleras.
Basically, the Poblado, the touristic area, because even Laureles had pretty low level of English.
Yeah, very
There's like
low.
one chick who spoke English, but that's it. What about guys who actually know some Spanish? What do you think are the best areas they should check out?
Well, if you're adventurous, you go down to Centro. So I would say there's like whatever, Plaza Botero, Parque Barrio, and like there's a several block area that there's pretty much plenty of traffic. But as Robert mentioned, we ventured a few blocks outside and we were like, oh, it's time for us to turn around. So like people say it's dangerous down there, but and to be honest, I don't really go down there that much, but nothing's ever happened to me. I feel pretty safe as long as you're not stupid. Put your wallet. I don't even take my wallet. I just take some cash and put my phone in my front pockets, not in the back. I mean, as long as you're not an idiot, I think you'll be fine.
Actually, recently I did a podcast with Jürgen, a guy who has traveled a lot around Latin America, and we talked a little bit about safety in Latin America, and he tells stories how he was robbed and left completely naked. The only thing he had on was just socks, and that's it. So if you are thinking about exploring this part of the world, I actually suggest listening to that podcast episode to learn more about safety in Latin America. So what's your general take on day game in Medellin after day gaming here for a few weeks?
Well, I've never day gamed anywhere else, so I don't have any place to compare it to. I've heard you say that, day game is easy in Medellin, especially if you speak Spanish, which I do, and I would agree. I mean, most of the women stop. Not all of them. I mean, some of them did walk by, but whatever. That's going to happen everywhere. But I mean, you told me like in New York City, like I don't know, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 are just going to freaking blow you off. Well, that doesn't happen in Medellin. I'd say 4 out of 5 stopped or more. So I would tend to think it's fairly easy here.
It is very easy if you speak Spanish. If you speak only English, then you have to understand that Medellin is the Kiev of Latin America. Just as Kiev, Ukraine is the place where all the foreigners, all the Americans and people from all over the world go just because it's famous for their hot girls. Medellin is the same thing. It's famous for its hot girls, and Americans and people from all over the world just come here because of that. And chicks aren't stupid. Living in a place like this where it's really, really, really hard to make ends meet, and well, if they see a lot of Americans and foreigners in general that are coming here and are willing to spend money, well, what happens is you have a lot of very high prostitution. You have girls that are gold diggers, and it's extremely common here. So if you are gaming here in English, you will run into the same problems that Kiev has. A lot of professionals, a lot of gold diggers, and you just have to be aware of that. This city is definitely doable in English, just as places like Kiev is doable in English. Moscow, St. Petersburg, maybe Minsk, all of those places are full with beautiful girls. They're doable in English, but you have to understand there are some limitations. If you are already decent at day game and you really wanna take a deep dive in Latin America and travel around and go to cities that aren't overgamed, aren't full with Americans just taking girls to fancy restaurants, well, you will have to learn Spanish, just as if you want to go to more interesting places in Russia or in Ukraine or in Belarus, you will have to learn Russian. So to all the guys watching, do you think they should give Medellin a try?
No, stay away. Yeah, it's like impossible here. Don't go somewhere else. Go to like Argentina.
Yes.
Or Brazil.
Yes, because the next 2 places I am going to are Argentina for a few months. I'll be there in around a week or 2 weeks. I will have several coaching spots in Argentina, and I'm going to Argentina because I spent the last winter in Mexico, and after a while I started realizing that most of the hot girls I opened were Argentinians, or Argentines as they're called, and I decided, fuck this, I'm going to the source. I'm going to Buenos Aires and exploring a few other cities, so I'll have a few coaching spots there if you want to join. And then end of February I am going to the Rio Carnival, one of the biggest parties in the world in Brazil. So it's end of February till early March. It's happening for 9 days, and I will have 2 coaching spots for the Rio Carnival. If you are interested in any of those spots, then well, link for signing up for coaching is in the description. Thank you for watching, guys. If you like this video, you know the drill. Click subscribe, click the thumbs up, blah blah blah. If you want to know about the next places I'm going to, make sure you are subscribed to the mailing list. Thank you for watching, and bye.